With the next millennium well on its way, it's important to stop and take a quick look back at where we've been. At Michigan Magazine, the year 2000 has been an exciting tapestry of Michigan's people and places. Just when we thought we've seen and experienced it all in Michigan, another unusual and unique story comes our way, adding another colored thread to the tapestry. It's that time of the year when we like to take that time and step back for a good look at where we've been and who we've met. From artists and craftspeople to wonderful places and unusual experiences. Who would have thought we'd be soaring high above Ann Arbor in a vintage World War II bomber? But that's exactly what we did as we visited the Yankee Air Force Museum.
The airplane itself is well self-supporting now that it's flying on the circuit. We're able to earn a little money with the airplane and pay for its upkeep in the meantime while we're still trying to raise additional funds so that we can build a new building and properly house these airplanes.
So how many members do you have?
Just over 2,000 members right now.
2,000 members from all over the country, from all over the United States?
And all over the world.
All over the world. You take this plane, this particular B-17, and you travel all over the United States with that?
Well, mostly around the Midwestern and Northeastern states, but we have gone Tennessee, Nebraska, Florida, and we've made a few longer trips with it, but generally speaking, we try to keep it somewhat within this immediate area.
And what an experience that was. The Yankee Air Museum back in the ground is something to see itself, with an amazing display of vintage aircraft. With our feet solidly back in the ground, our many adventures take us to a more down-home setting on the back porch of the Michigan Magazine Museum as we settle into a mid-autumn outdoor barbecue with our good friends from Pampered Beef of Fairview. Here we learned of the healthy difference in range and farm-fed beef and its growing market among beef lovers.
Well, we try to raise our beef naturally with no hormones or antibiotic additives. Plus Virgil, he pampers his beef. If you ever watch him out with his cows, he's out scratching somebody's back or petting somebody somewhere. So that's where the name Pampered came from. You know where your cattle come from. Our motto is from field to your freezer.
And from freezer to our backyard barbecue at the Michigan Magazine Museum, you could taste the difference. As Del and I soon found out, it was delicious.
Speaking of food, which we do so often, nowhere were we greeted with more hospitality than at Lawson's Bakery in downtown Leslie. Here the Lawsons shared with us their family recipes handed down for generations. And Mom, Vicki Lawson, took special time to introduce us to a special recipe found in the Bible.
My main recipe is Ezekiel. In Ezekiel, find my recipe in the Bible under Ezekiel 4:9. And that's what Ezekiel looks like. And so,
give it, excuse me, but does it give it a descriptive recipe type thing?
God told Ezekiel, I won't tell you the whole story because I want everybody to read the Bible under 4:9 because it's quite an interesting story. So God told Ezekiel what he wanted him to eat. So Ezekiel did the flax. It says right out flaxseed. He tells him the millet. Then he tells him to sprout the lentils. Now lentils is from the bean family. But so I sprout the lentils. I do what God told Ezekiel to do. And then here's your flax.
All this is grown right here in Leslie?
Yeah. Leslie is a wonderful town. You use honey in it. God told him to use honey. Now that's what our honey looks like. And then the other thing that God told him was to use beans. And so there's your beans. You got to cook up a bean, though, because to make it soft. It's like you have to sprout the lentils when you make this bread. And then the other beans is our good old navy beans.
Oh, yeah.
And sometimes some cornbread with that. And so that's what I use. I make a mixture of this, and this makes this the bread.
And a taste of Ezekiel bread we found was truly wonderful. Undoubtedly heaven sent, as was all the goodies at Lawson's of Leslie. In our travels this past year on Michigan Magazine, we found out that Michigan was reaching for the heavens in more ways than one, as we visited one of the largest producers of high-powered amateur rocketry supplies at a business called Public Missles, based in Clemans, Michigan.
You ship them all over the world, don't you?
All over the world. Behind your cameraman there is an order going to Switzerland.
Yeah.
England is doing more and with rockets. Australia, they can do rockets. We send some kits to Australia. just recently this year, the British government had us build 7 full-size Harpoon missiles, and they were doing a documentary on the British Navy. So instead of firing the $1 million missiles, they got replicas, full-size replicas, and they had the Aerotech motor company in Nevada supply them with some big motors. And the ship captain told the film crew couldn't tell the difference between the replicas and the real thing when they fire the real ones for training. So they were pretty authentic. Also, we've supplied Paramount Studios Star Trek Generations movie with 3 rockets, Young Indiana Jones TV series, and then some. We did some work for Kings Island down in Cincinnati.
Jerry Kolb and Frank Urota, founders of the company, are true inspiration to other Michiganians who are tempted to reach for the stars.
Christmas has come and gone, but the spirit lives on throughout the year at a very special place we discovered in southern Michigan near the Ohio state line, called Matthas Evergreen Farm, a cut-your-own Christmas tree farm that delights visiting families from 3 states and Canada, all 4 seasons of the year.
All of this has kind of come about just because people wanted it and needed it, you know. We have 5 kids of our own, they're all grown, but we realize the importance of doing things as a family, and today's families are so hurried and so busy that, you know, that it's kind of hard to find something for all of them to do at a reasonable price. And out here you can come and spend the whole day and not spend a dime. We hope you will, of course, but you don't have to, because the petting zoo is free. They can look at all this other stuff. They can come in and watch the entertainment. They can go into the craft areas and can do all of that, and it's just a fun time for the whole family.
A fun time for the whole family is also being seen at the historic Crosswell Opera House in downtown Adrian, as we discovered this National Historic Treasure is being enjoyed by the entire community, ensuring its place as a protected piece of history to be enjoyed for generations to come.
One of the things that we talked about just between ourselves and between productions was that the Crosswells become not a luxury to our community. It's become a necessity. It's something that's expected, so more and more people are willing to give and to be part of it, because it's not something that they think, oh, that's something that we've got, oh well. It's something that they feel they need, both from the community, from the productions that are done here. It's a part of the fabric of Adrian and Lenawee County. And the thing that's really been neat about being here is, we work with professionals as well as the community. I mean, it has a different feel to it. It's not just community theater. We get to a lot of equity performers, people who have gone on to tremendous things. The other thing I think that's really unique about the Crosswell is it allows families sometimes to get the bug.
From getting the bug, whether it be acting or history and heritage, you'll find it at the state's oldest opera house in Adrian. Getting the bug to creatures of the night that rely on bugs, we head to the community of Halett, where we discover the world headquarters of the Organization for Bat Conservation. Here we encountered bats native to the state of Michigan and bats not so native, such as the South American fruit bat and the notorious vampire bat.
Well, we were founded in 1990, and we were founded to help protect bats and their habitats. And as you know, a lot of people are really afraid of bats. And so what we do is we do outreach programs with bats that have come from zoos or are permanently injured, and we'll go into schools, libraries, nature centers, and we'll teach people about the benefits of bats.
Oh my goodness, there is a benefit to bats. That's a big misconception from all the old 40s and 50s movies of Dracula and things of that sort, but when someone says you have bats in your belfry or your little batty, it's not such a bad thing to say to them, is it? I mean,
no, not really.
Really?
If you're a regular viewer of Michigan Magazine, you know that we base our program around family values and experiences. Special times and special places are what we believe Michigan Magazine is all about. Our people are special. From those we interview to you, our viewers, it's always a humbling experience when we meet either one. Artists and craftspeople are special to us at Michigan Magazine, so much so that we spotlight them at our annual Arts and Crafts Expo at the Michigan Magazine Museum. So many talented individuals. Many are husbands and wife teams, such as Frank and Pam Fuller.
When we first started our craft business, we had a little bit of everything. Frank made pie safes and jelly cabinets and plant stands, and you name it, we had it made out of wood. And then we kind of wanted to narrow our business down, and the best-selling things were our buildings. There was a lady that came up to our booth and said, you ought to think about doing the Michigan lighthouses. And, oh, okay, so we started that.
And so that has taken off pretty well.
That's mainly our business now.
And that business has become quite the enterprise with a loyal following of collectors for the Fuller's renditions of lighthouses and Michigan landmarks. From crafters to the fine artists, we have them all from all corners of the state. Near Grand Rapids, just outside of Howard City in a renovated one-room schoolhouse, you'll find the Hendricks family. The father, Randy, is gaining national attention for his wildlife and wilderness paintings, breathtaking renditions inspired by the nature that surrounds him.
I believe, that the Lord made all these animals and all this diverse wildlife and nature, and to be able to have the opportunity, the privilege to be able to reproduce some of this in my own way, it's a real blessing. And the earliest piece I ever reproduced as a limited edition print was a painting called The Dove and the Cross. And I did it for the church I was going to at the time. And I painted a dove on the cross beam of the cross. And there was such a great reaction from it that some people asked me if I was going to make prints out of it. And I decided to make a small print. So I borrowed the money to make the print edition. And, I had this stack of paper at my dining room table and signing and numbering everyone, and I was really wondering who was ever going to buy all these. And within a month I sold 50 of them myself. Sometimes I think the Lord blesses an effort, just the effort, and really kindles a fire.
Taking something traditional, such as a log cabin, and making it a bit unconventional, and something we all can experience, is what we discovered in a journey to panel concepts in Oscoda County, as we met John Gasho. What I find it's really neat about this whole thing is that anybody can put it together.
Well,
almost.
What the whole idea was, that anybody can do it. Sell quite a few of them for hunting cabins and like little guest cabins. That people that already have a hunting cabin or a cabin use them for little guest cabins, utility buildings and that type of thing.
And it's something you can put up and take down.
Right.
Put on a truck and gone.
Right. You can put them on the... Yes, everything put together with screws.
Utilizing the woods of Michigan's forests and creating wonderful panel cottages for all to enjoy is an inspiring story of a modern-day lumberman, John Gasho. Another inspiring story comes our way from Sanford Lake, where computer consultant and musician John Harnick saw something else in the woods of Michigan, something divinely inspired.
It was before Christmas, 2.5 years ago. I have firewood I heat the house with, and I was splitting firewood one day, and inside, to me, was a cross. And I needed gifts for my family, so I made one cross just to see what it would be like to make one, how hard it would be. I didn't have any tools. I had an axe and a hacksaw. That's what I made it with. And made the cross, and it turned out real nice, so I gave it away for Christmas, and I made several others. And just the reaction I got from my family for giving them that cross, it was a message from God that He wants me to make more of these. So,
and you did actually make more of these, haven't you?
I've made over 1,000 now in the last 2.5 years. It started out slow, but the more I made, the more that message became clear to me that the blessing I was receiving from giving them to other people, that's what I was going to be doing the rest of my life.